Hi, I'm Vanessa, and I wanted to share a few tips for all runners. Whether you're a new runner or a seasoned runner, these are tips that have helped me throughout my running years. Let me also share with you my running experience. I started running in high school, cross country. I ran that briefly. I ran off and on till age 30, then I noticed a lot of benefits from running, so I got addicted. I decided to sign up for a half marathon. I ran a half marathon, then I ran a full marathon, then I found myself running all the marathons that I could find in California, outside of California, qualified for Boston, ran Boston. I also became a pacer as I wanted to help other people reach their goals, as pacers helped me reach my goals. One year for Mother's Day, I asked my daughters to run a half marathon with me at Disneyland, and they actually said yes. That was extremely rewarding. Now we try to keep the tradition, although it's not a half marathon. The year after, we ran a 10K, but we try to keep a Mother's Day tradition of doing a run every Mother's Day, which is really nice. I also took up trail running. Trail running is very rewarding. The views you get, the extreme uphills, the nature, meeting new people. I ran a 50-miler with my brother near San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. That was extremely rewarding. I love the freedom of running. You can do it any time of the day, any place you're at, any weather you have, any landscape, whether it's man-made or earth-made. I love being able to watch the sun come up, the sun go down, running in the dark. It's a great activity to do alone or with people. I love that you can make any turn at any time. You can go as long as you want or as short as you want. It's a nice activity to do with family members or even taking the dog for a run, see how long he could go. Okay, so now moving forward to the tips. Different aspects from toes to head. So the first tip I'd like to mention is increasing of mileage. Gradually increase your mileage so that you can stay as injury-free as possible. So I would recommend week 1 to 3, run 1 mile 3 times a week. Then see how you feel. Week 2 to 4, you can add maybe a quarter or a half a mile, running 1.5 miles 3 times a week. After the 4th week, or maybe even the 5th week, add a little more, maybe another half, so running 2 or 2.5 miles 3 times a week. Each week, adding gradually, safely. The next tip I want to talk about is soreness versus injury. How do you know when you're sore and when you're injured? For me, soreness is when you can feel pain as you're walking or running or doing any type of body movement, but you can still do the movement. Versus injury, I believe when you have an injury and you try to move that particular body part, you'll feel a spasm or some kind of extreme pain where you cannot do the movement comfortably. For soreness and injury, I have 2 methods I like to use. First, for soreness is mesh, M-E-S-H. M is for massage. There are many types of massages that you can give yourself or you can get done out there to prevent injury and keep your soreness low. There's also many exercises that you can do to prevent injury in sensitive places like the knees, the lower back. Same thing with stretches, a whole bunch of stretches you can do. And as well as heating your body, heating the skin, the muscles, making them relax, spread out, expand. Using a sauna, a jacuzzi, or even your hot shower, even your own portable heater that you have at home can help relax your muscles. I highly recommend that you get a massage, exercise, stretch, or heat up the body at least 3 times a week. It's just a nice part of self-care as well. If you do preventative care, you should remain injury-free. But should you become injured, I follow the RICE method, which is R-I-C-E. R is for rest. Rest depends on you, how often you work out, how often you usually rest. It is recommended if you're injured to rest about 2 days. The I is for ice, icing the body part that you have injured. About 15 minutes of placing ice on that body part as many times as you need throughout the day. C is for compress, compressing the body part that's injured or in pain. You can tie a bandage, a gauze around it tightly, or you can buy compression attire. There's compression socks and materials that you can find out there. And E is for elevate. Elevate that body part above your heart so you can lay down, have the heart under, raise the leg. And you can, same thing, do this about 15 minutes all together throughout the day, as many times as you need until your body part feels better. I recommend that you do both the mesh method and the rice method as needed. Now moving on to the feet, starting with the toenails. It is recommended that you buy a half size bigger for your shoe, or just making sure that your thumb and foot both fit inside the shoe. That way the toes have room to roam around, because if the toenail is really close to the front of the shoe and as you're running it keeps lifting the toenail, you can lose a toenail. I've lost several toenails. They call them black toenails because you get blood under it as it starts to detach, and it could be painful, and then the process of waiting for your toenail to regrow again. So making sure you cut them nice, short, and have that half size shoe bigger. Having them cut and filed nicely along with that half size shoe bigger prevents your toes from rubbing against each other and cutting each other up. I've had many runs with bloody feet, unfortunately. Which brings us to skin. So I apply Vaseline all over my foot. It prevents from cuts, from friction, from getting blisters. I usually get a blister around my big toe. Last time I went running, I forgot to apply the Vaseline, and so I got that blister, but usually it prevents from getting any blisters, any extra cuts, like the one I have back here. All those can be really painful, but preventative if you place that Vaseline all around the foot. Also make sure to keep your shoes as dry as you can. That way you can avoid dampness, avoid fungus or bacteria growing on the foot. Which now brings us to socks. Again, I prefer the thinner socks. I have wore the thicker socks, but the thinner socks have better ventilation. I feel like I have better grasp on my shoe as I'm running. Also in trail races, I have ran through creeks and I've had soggy shoes for about 2 hours, so the thinner socks dry faster. Also making sure my socks have elasticity. I have ran several races where the sock keeps sliding off of my heel, off of my ankle. I have to keep pulling over. Once I got sick of pulling over, so I just let the sock go in the middle of my arch, and it caused me to have a pain on the side of my arch for about a day or two, which slowed down my training. And it also ended up giving me a cut behind my foot, which was really painful as well. They also sell the socks with a little grip on the back. That way it prevents from the socks slipping out. And now moving forward to shoes. I have chosen my shoes by feel more than reputation, and I just keep coming back to the Nike Pegasus. Even though they change style, they still kind of stay somewhat consistent. What I like is having a lot of cushion on the shoe. That's just my preference. Also remember to break in the shoe gradually. So if you get a brand new shoe, try not to run long distance on it. Run a mile, then two. Follow the same pattern as increasing mileage. And the last thing for shoes is it is recommended that you replace your shoe after you ran in them from 300 to 500 miles. By not replacing them, you can overuse the bottom of the shoe, making the sole slippery. It could be dangerous, and also making sure that you replace the shoe so that you stay injury free. As the cushion or the shoe starts to wear out, it could take a toll on your legs. So just replace it 300 to 500 miles. And now moving from ankle to hips, I personally have not had many injuries, and I believe the reason why is because I stay preventative with the method of mesh and rice when needed. Mesh, I try to do as much as possible, just building around all my muscles, making sure my torso is long, the core is strong so that I can keep my chest bone up, relaxing my shoulders while I'm running, making sure I'm breathing deep breaths so that the oxygen reaches all the muscles, all the tissues, all needed to keep the endurance going, the muscles, the posture. Also having that Vaseline all over my body so that I stay frictionless and I don't get scafing, which is sort of rug burn cuts around the body. Those can be very painful, especially once the water hits you when you're showering. Moving on to the head. So where your hair up, of course, is more comfortable. The sweat doesn't get stuck around the face. Wear sunblock if you're going to be running for a long period of time outdoors. Remember to smile. Smile gives you extra energy when you're running. Wearing a hat is optional. Moving on to nutrition, fuel, and hydration. I believe everybody's body is different in general. Try to drink water. Try to try it out in your long runs. See what works best for you. I try not to drink too much so that the water is not bouncing in my stomach, but just enough where I stay hydrated, my lips don't dry up while I'm running. The rule of thumb for drinking water in general when not running is to divide your body weight by 2, and that's how many ounces you should be drinking per day. What I like to follow is the color chart of the urine. Not too light and not too dark is where you should be. So if it's too dark, just drink more water. If it's too light, drink less water. But always test it out, see how you feel, what works best for you. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to read over these tips, and I hope it helps you in your runs so you can keep enjoying running and stay motivated to keep working on your health, mind and body. I will be making videos on exercises, massages, heating options, and stretches. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Have a great day.